First take. Got bored doing work, so I'm gonna talk about a book I just finished. Motherfucking Sun Tzu, The Art of War. I got this in the fucking illustrated edition, so got nice pictures, so I can give a shit while I read. This book, I think it's a little overrated. Can't lie. But definitely handy. I feel like this is very like comprehensive. Like you can give this to like a 13, 14-year-old and they're gonna get exactly what this book is about if you can help them like figure out how to read it, which is quite simple. Anyways, so I'm not sure if all editions of this book have this type of layout. Let me just show a page like this. So in the fucking regular text, it'll have the law, and then in the italics, it'll have like an anecdote, it'll have an explanation and an example, right? And then on the bottom, in like the very thin like subtext, kind of like footnotes, it'll have just like explanations on some words that are like, I guess, more suited for that time, like words we wouldn't use now. That explain it a little better, because I think it's trying its best to directly translate from Sun Tzu, since he is like it is ancient Chinese. Anyways, do I think people should read this book? Not everyone. I don't think it's for everyone. Realistically, if you're like me, I'm a student athlete, so I study law and I box. This is it works hand in hand with my life. It's very competitive, battle orientated. I mean, obviously you got boxing there. And then with law, it does a lot of mind games. Not mind games really, but like it's very mental, and you can go back and forth with somebody in debate. So for me, it works out pretty well. You know, you got two major factors to why I read this. But if you're somebody who isn't competitive or doesn't want to partake in anything that involves getting the upper hand, manipulation, it's not really for that person. Or somebody who doesn't want to be a leader, it's not for them. But it is for people who want to improve yourself individually, improve yourself as a leader of a team, and improve yourself on like 1v1 combat kind of shit. Like, yeah, so it's a very fast read as well. I know looks like a huge book. That's because it just has pictures, footnotes, examples. But if you just read it for the laws itself, it's actually quite small. Like if I just find another one, right? Here, right? Every time you get like a big ass number, so like you see 11 here, and there's no, like this is like all you need really. It's just the text. And then until like you get onto this side, you can see like in the italics here is an example, and then the footnotes at the bottom. Once you remove all that like empty space, once you remove all the empty space and the pictures and the italic part and the footnotes, then it's a very short book. And then also skipped the first part, which is like 90 pages long. Just can't be arsed. And then the last part is of somebody that was closely related to Sun Tzu, called Wu Chi. And that took up a lot, around 20 pages. Out of this page is like 270 pages long. But for everything, it might as well be an 100-page book. And it's very fast. Like, that's why I really liked it, reading it, because it's quite easy. It is very informative, and it does lay out the groundwork for any sort of battle or combat system, really. But what I would say is that even though it works out for me pretty well, it won't work out for everyone. If you're just a fighter, it won't work out for you there. If you're just somebody that's a leader, it won't. Oh, this whole book isn't fully for you. If you're just like a lawyer, it won't fully work for you. So this is like one of those books where it's good to have for when you need it, but you just pick out what you need for most of it. So as a boxer, I would interpret this book conceptually, not literally. But if you are, I mean, there's a rare case that you find any like guys who are like, also like generals or warlords. Like this is probably the least you need to know. Yeah. Anyways, the cover is cool as shit, and the vibes are really cool. Like all the pictures in the inside, like they're all very. How do like you got the kanji on the sides, and where's all the fucking. What are they? Oh, there you are. Fucking like some real pictures of like Chinese uh, architecture and like statues. Just really captures the vibes of this book. I started reading this a while ago, but only started locking in like last week. And overall, I think it's a very enjoyable book. At the start, it'll have you scratch your chin because some of the shit you find out will be handy in the future. But I think as you go on, it gets more and more complex, which is I think it's a good way to evolve a book. Like that's how you start off. It doesn't jump in too hard, but at the same time, it does kind of get a little boring. It starts off with, how do I say? Let me see. So estimations. So before you head into war, waging war, starting war, offensive strategy, and then start working on defense after dispositions, and then after that, then you get on to the 9 variables, which is chapter 8, and it gets a little bit more complex, and then you go on to chapter 13, employment of secret agents, and that's really just war orientated, because chapter 12 is just attack by fire, which is all about arson. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't plan on fucking burning shit. Other than my hair in that last video. But other than that, take it for what it is. Interpret it with how you want. And you find a lot of uses out of this book. Fucking next up on my list, I have Atomic Habits. Bought that, getting through it slowly, but now I'm going book by book instead of doing like 10 pages a day. Because I already built up the habit. Now I just need to lock in and really develop it. Anything else about Sun Tzu Art of War? Would I recommend it? Yes. I'll give it like a 7 out of 10. You know, it was easy read. I find this book interesting. And it's very easy to read. It gives you a good look. Like if you read the text on the sides, it does get into a bit of history. I find it interesting, and I find war interesting as well. So knowing how different situations Sun Tzu has given for us to read and interpret, and then tells us the stories about how they were applied and how it worked out. Like, that's good, you know. It's like you're actually getting advice. I mean, it isn't an advice type of book, anyways, so it's a bit self-explanatory. But yeah, no, it's like you really get a good insight on like Sun Tzu, his perspective on war. Been meaning to read Robert Greene's one as well. I think it's under the same title, The Art of War. And that looks a little bigger because I've dabbled into the 48 Laws a little bit as well. And that's quite long. It's a similar format as well, but very much there is no white space or pictures in that book. It's just like a dictionary. Anyways, that hits 10 minutes. I don't have much to say about this book. Anything else, like, because it is what, like, the explanation and the book itself is just what it is. It's a simple book. Start Out of War. It itself from start to finish, how you approach things, and then all the variables at the end of it. I'll be definitely dabbling into it when I do need it. If I'm ever stuck with anything, or specifically any one, this is the book you kind of need to grab from your shelf again and figure out what's up. Good to memorize them, I think, some of the laws. Because one, it makes you sound cool as fuck. when you know what you're saying. And two, it is handy for when you need it, you know, need to outsmart somebody mostly, and figuring out strategies against somebody else. But that kind of wraps it all up. Pick it up if it's for you from what I said, and don't. So that wraps it up. Talk to you later. Bye.